Or let's look at the agreement for deed. Anybody here from Florida? This is you. Wake up, Floridians. This is your land contract. Okay? This is the agreement you're going to use in the state of Florida or any place else where they use an agreement for deed. Boy, look at there. It's 2 pages. Super complicated, isn't it? I'm not going to read it. I don't want to take time to read it, and it's self-explanatory. If you read this, I promise you, you'll understand it.
No title company needed on this?
No title company needed. Now, do you buy with agreement for deed in Florida? Not if you can help it. Not if you can help it. No. Not if you can help it. In Florida, it's more common to do a wraparound mortgage and get a deed than anything else. But however, why would I want to sell in Florida with agreement for deed?
So you retain the title, the deed.
I retain the deed. Why is that important?
Judgment.
Well, I still got to foreclose now, don't I? Yes. But can the buyer get a judgment against them if the deed is in my name?
No.
They can't get a judgment against the property, can they? I'll sell with an agreement for deed for that reason only. So if I do want a deed, suppose I sell the property here to Ron, and he goes out and gets a $12.5 million IRS lien against him. Will it attach to his house if it's in his name? Yes. Could he deed me the property back? Yes, but I get a $12.5 million judgment against it in the process. If, however, I've sold to him by agreement for deed, that judgment will not attach to my house, so he can deed it back, and I don't have to foreclose the judgment off or deal with whoever's there. So it makes it easier for me to take it back. And folks, I'm telling you, rarely will I ever foreclose to take a property back. I usually deal my way out of it. I'll deal my way into a deed to get it back. Anybody who's in foreclosure, most of the time, would rather work with you peacefully than have you foreclose on them, most of the time. If they're still around. If they haven't come up missing on you. Agreement for deed to buy. If you're going to use an agreement for deed, that's the one you want to use. Look down near the bottom. It says, upon full payment of the contract, seller shall issue a general warranty deed to the buyers free of all encumbrances except as otherwise set forth. In addition, seller reserves the right to convert this contract into a note and mortgage and receive a warranty deed to buyer or assigns from seller anytime the following conditions have been met by the buyers. At least 20% of the purchase price has been paid to seller. Buyer is willing to pay all costs of title transfer and document preparation. Anytime that I, as the buyer, get 20% paid in, I can then ask the seller to deed me the property and take back a wraparound mortgage, or mortgage, whatever the case may be. Also, in that document, you'll find nothing that says I cannot transfer that agreement for deed. It's freely transferable in this document. However, let's go look at the document that says agreement for deed to sell. And let's just see if it says the same thing. First of all, there's an obvious paragraph missing down there. It doesn't say anything about the 20%. Nonsense. When I'm selling with an agreement for deed, I use a standard agreement for deed. Okay? And a standard agreement for deed does not have that provision, and it also says that it is not transferable. This agreement is not assignable without written permission from the seller. So do you see that we don't use the same document to buy that we use to sell? All right. One filled out and one blank. That agreement is so self-explanatory, I can't believe you're going to have a problem understanding it if you read it. However, if you live in Ohio, don't read it. Let's look at yours. I can use the land installment contract in any state in the United States. I can. I can use the agreement for deed in any state in the United States. Look at it. It ain't nothing but an agreement. That's all it is. But agreement for deed is the term they use in Florida. Land contract is the term they use in Ohio. And pretty much, I'll tell you, they're pretty much the same agreement. Let's look at this thing. I think we can take time to read this. I'll tell you what, let's go to the one that's filled out. This basically says that that we're buying this property for $72,000. We're putting $10,000 down. We owe the vendee $62,000 at $620 a month, beginning on the first day of August 1994. And on the first day of each and every month thereafter, we'll make the payment till 2024 at 10% interest. Very simple. Encumbrances, evidence of title, recording of contract. The vendor shall cause a copy of this contract to be recorded in the Clark County Recorder's Office within a period of 20 days. Now look down there. What's LICTB? Land Installment Contract to Buy. Do I want it recorded? Yes. You bet your bippy. You bet your bippy. Okay? Let's see. Look at paragraph 8. Notice that same 20% junk there? When I pay in 20%, I can get a deed if I want it. By the way, in some states, that's the law. You know, you don't even have to put it in there. All right? That's pretty much that. Now let's look at the one to sell. See how it differs. Look at paragraph 4. The vendor shall only cause a copy of this contract to be recorded in the Clark County Recorder's Office within a period of 20 days after the execution of this contract by the parties hereto, if the laws of the state of Ohio require recordation. See that? They can only record it if the laws require it. Incidentally, we filled in that Ohio. There ain't no line under it, but just like we filled in Clark County and so forth, we filled in it. Obviously, it changed that state. Let's see what else is different. Delivery of deed. Look at paragraph 9. Upon full payment of this contract, vendor shall issue a general warranty deed to the vendee. That's what's standard in land contracts, upon full payment. Okay? Let's look at the assignment rights. Look at paragraph 8. The vendee shall not sell, assign, or pledge their interest in this land contract without the vendor's written consent, which consent shall not be unreasonably be withheld. Okay? Turn back over to the one where we're buying. Let's see what it says about assignment. It's mysteriously not in the agreement. That's why we didn't find it. Anytime that an agreement does not say you cannot assign it, you can assign it. The best way to address that, in my opinion, is to not address it. If there's no paragraph in there that says it's not assignable, it's assignable. You understand that? And that's also true for purchase and sale agreements.
So when you get a contract, you don't have to put your name and or sign.
Nope. When we go through contract class, I'm going to tell you that putting and or signs at the top of your contract is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Structuring your seller finance purchase for resale.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Paragraph 11 in land.
All right. Let's read this, because it doesn't mean what he thinks it means. It is agreed that the land installment contract shall be binding upon each of the parties, their administrators, executors, legal representatives, heirs, and assigns. Does that mean the contract is assignable? No. That means that any heir or a representative after the death of the individual involved here, or anyone who they assign that responsibility to, is legally bound by this agreement. You will find that paragraph in all purchase and sale agreements. That has nothing to do with the assignability of the contract.